Hey everyone, my name is Molly Gomes. I'm a real estate broker at Royal LePage Crown here in Cambridge, and today I am meeting with Danielle Forbes, who is the Executive Director at National Service Dogs here in Cambridge. Welcome, Danny.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm good. I've got our facility dog here, but getting him on camera is a little bit tough. Yeah, he's a little bit too well behaved to jump into my lap right now. So I don't know, maybe he'll come. Charlie, here, buddy. Come on. Max. Can you see him? Oh, here he is.
Hi. Oh my gosh.
Chartwell's our facility dog. He's the dog we use for client interviews, any type of community outreach and stuff like that.
How did you get into this career path?
Oh my gosh. I've always loved animals, and I thought when I was a little kid that I'd be a veterinarian one day. From the minute I could say the word, that's what I wanted to be. And my entire first 18 years of life was geared towards becoming a veterinarian. So, and then I got to the University of Guelph and joined the Future Vet Club and saw what goes on a day-to-day basis in your average veterinary clinic with just surgeries and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do that all day. The surgical piece was not the least bit interesting to me. It was the behavioral pieces that I liked. The human animal bond pieces, the training pieces, that's where I got excited and I went, oh, I guess I'm not being a vet now, what do I do? And I shifted actually to just general biology behavior, and I worked as a zookeeper for a few years. And
that's cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Because you got to work with the animals and you're dealing with stuff that you can't touch. So how do you condition them to present their butts for vaccinations? And, we work with the rhinos and use shaping tools and behaviors to get them to, stand to have their feet and their horns trimmed and all the healthcare pieces, right? That stuff interested me.
So neat. Yeah,
and then I got into dog training from there, and here we are. And dogs are easy to physically manipulate because you're generally bigger than they are. And as a trainer, the hardest thing to learn is not to be a push and pull, right? Is to encourage them and find ways to get them to do it of their own accord, and then look for opportunities to reward when they get it right. So that whole piece has been really what I was interested in. How do you turn their minds into a pretzel? So that's what interested me, the psychological piece of it.
So you're the executive director at National Dogs, but before then, you used to train the dogs yourself, or do you still do that part of the job?
Yeah, no, I gravitated from the zookeeper into the service dog training. And I got my start actually training dogs for the deaf and hard of hearing at another program. And myself and two friends who were working there met a lady who was looking for an autism service dog. And they didn't exist in 1996 when she reached out. And so we kind of looked into it. It's like, well, what do you want the dog to do? This and that. And it's like, well, okay, we can try it, but separate from what we're doing in our day jobs, because that's not their mission, right? And we committed to helping this one mom get a dog for her then 3-year-old with autism. And during the course of that process, we went to the Geneva Center for Autism Conference in 1996 and had 30 requests for dogs when they found out what we were doing. So we quit our other job and started National Service Dogs. The service dog model that was developed with our handful of clients that we had at the very beginning is what's being used worldwide. It's been improved on over the years. And we've adopted some of the changes that other programs have made because we all work collectively through Assistance Dogs International. But the core model of what we do is, what we developed 25 years ago.
So what do you say is the most memorable, I know there's probably a ton, but your most memorable experience or moment that you've had being a part of this organization?
Well, it's been 25 years. It's kind of tough to pick just one. I think my favorite is the client pieces. Seeing, especially our kids with autism, thrive with their dogs. Children who were not socially engaging, who struggled verbally, who, could not transition out of their house into a public space with confidence. And I've had the opportunity, working with the clients, we do recertification testing and testing in public spaces where the service dog team has to go through a set number of activities to be certified and qualified by us as an appropriate service dog team. And many of our kids with autism can't independently handle their dogs, but some of the kids are able to, even if they're nonverbal, manage the dogs. So wherever possible, we include them in the certification process and the public access testing and all of that. And over the years, we've had a large number of children who've engaged with that process and then gotten feedback from their parents, how proud they were that they were able to complete the certification pieces independent of their parents, and how empowering it was for them and how they've carried and used that empowerment to go on to try other things with confidence. So that stuff's pretty special, and it's happened on numerous occasions. And I think secondarily, I've whelped a lot of puppies at my house over the years. So I've been involved with litters of puppies getting their first start, like from 0 to 8 or 9 weeks of age, on numerous occasions, and that is going to be my retirement job.
That's an amazing job.
Love puppies. From 0 to 16 weeks is my sweet spot for handling puppies.
So what skills are the dogs required to know before they're able to go to their family?
So we start the dogs, like I said, from a very young age, just getting them conditioned to certain body positions, like obviously the basics. So sit, down, stay, loose leash walking and heels, recalls, coming when you're called. We do a lot of conditioning for dogs to settle. So having them on leash at your feet while you're watching TV so that they learn to settle when you're settled and stay settled. Going to a spot and staying there. A lot of our dogs in their working role, whether they're going into a classroom with a child with autism or to work with somebody with PTSD or our facility dogs, we get them to target on their dog bed. And when they're sent to their mat, that's an implied stay. So we consider the basics. When you get into the autism pieces, we actually use the dogs to anchor the kids who have bolting issues for safety. So the dogs are taught a halt command where they put on the brakes. They can either brace or sit, and it actually stops the kids from bolting. What's been interesting is once the dogs are actually out working with the kids, they get to learn the child's movement and rhythm. And I've seen it so many times where normally the parent would issue the halt command and the dog would respond accordingly. But a good working team that's been out for a while, what you'll notice is if the kids speed up, the dogs will automatically put on the brakes and readjust and make the kids readjust their speed. Or if they veer from a straight line path, so if they try to veer left or right, the dogs will go in the opposite direction in anticipation and put the brakes on. So that's really cool stuff for the autism. For PTSD and autism, there's the crossover pieces for the anxiety and stress supports. So the dogs are conditioned, again, right from the early stages of their development to get comfortable laying on top of people, laying across your legs, laying on your chest. And as they get bigger, they learn to adjust so that they're comfortable, and we teach them to do it on command with an over command. So
wow, it's amazing the kind of impact these dogs can make, eh?
Yeah.
So you guys put on like the Easter egg hunts, right, for the
We
dogs?
try. Pre-COVID,
Yeah.
we did the Easter egg hunts for 23 years.
We've been to a couple of them. Can I ask you a bit of an inside question?
Sure.
Inside the eggs, they have those little words.
Letters.
Letters. Okay, so I've always just been like, okay, I'm just gonna make something. Is there like something that it spells every year, or
Yes.
something? Is it the same word every year?
No. No. And every year it spells something different so that people don't go through and open stuff up, think they've got a loser and toss it. So we've had everything from cat, dog, Labrador, like lab. But COVID has really messed with that event in a big way. Like we got shut down last year. This year with the lockdown, the hard lockdown in January, none of the parks, like we do that event in 8 locations across Canada, and none of the parks are open to doing in-person events because of COVID. So last year we pivoted to what we hoped would be a Halloween hunt, because Halloween was going to be on the Saturday. And we thought, well, we'll just do the same hunt, but do it with a Halloween theme. And of course, COVID put the kibosh on that, and it ended up being a drive-through event, which was fine, but it wasn't what it should be. So this year, we pretty much, as soon as they put us in a hard lockdown in January, we're like, okay, so there goes Easter again this year. But Halloween is on, October 31st is on a Sunday this year. So we are gonna do a haunted traditional hunt with the eggs, with all the great milk bone treats stuffed inside of them, all those crazy letters you just talked about. Get the dogs out there in costumes. That's awesome. Owners out there in costumes, and give away a ton of great stuff.
Is there any items right now that the community could donate or that you guys are really in need of?
Oh, we're always in need of just cash. To be blunt. Well, because that allows us to meet our needs, you know.
Absolutely.
In terms of the dog training pieces, I mean, we are always looking for Kongs and Nylabones, like the hard ones that the dogs can't rip through. Dog treats, the trainers have their choices. We use a lot of kibble. In terms of prizes for our events, we're always looking for prizes to be donated. For the Halloween hunt this year, we're going to need prizes across Ontario. So any types of gift cards from any agency, whether it's restaurants, attractions, is always greatly appreciated for the hunt this October. Dog-related toys for the fundraising event to hand out as prizes are always hugely popular with participants for the event. We have wish list Wednesdays on our social medias where we highlight various things. We're just in the process of setting up the charity to be able to accept donated Aeroplan miles, so we can use those miles to travel across Canada to do client follow-ups and things like that. So that's coming soon.
So that's a lot of options for people to be able to. Yeah. So any price point, I mean, they could donate anything. So that's good to know, and we'll make sure that our listeners and followers know that information. Is there any other way a community member can get involved? Is there like puppy training opportunities or fostering, or I think I saw something about driving puppies.
Yes.
Is there things like that you want to mention?
Yeah, so again, with COVID, we've had to reimagine our volunteer opportunities. Right now, we don't have any dogs living at the kennel. They go home to volunteer homes every night and come into the training center Monday to Thursday for their training. So we have volunteers, drivers who pick them up and drop them off both trips each day, which is very helpful. We call it the school bus program. So they get picked up and dropped off for school. So that part, we're looking for volunteers. We're always looking for volunteer puppy raisers. We have, I think, 3 dogs in the process of being bred right now. And if we have success with those dogs, then we'll have puppies in 63 days. Wow. That will need foster homes 9 weeks after that. So puppy raising is an ongoing process. You don't have to wait till the puppies are on the ground to get involved. We have a really intensive orientation process and training process. And through our learnings through COVID, we've become very adept at virtual classrooms. So we encourage people that are waiting to get their puppy and start their puppy raising experience to Zoom into those lectures on dog handling and animal health. And then when COVID allows for in-person handling, we invite people who are, again, waiting for their puppies to be born and to be placed with them. They can come to actual training classes and handle Chartwell. Our facility dog goes to training classes and helps to orientate people who are new to our puppy raising program on dog handling. So there's lots of ways you can get involved now virtually in the lead up to actually getting a puppy to raise. So
that's great to know.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure to kind of highlight that.
And like I said, the one thing COVID has done is given us the opportunity to engage people virtually where there was no process or maybe a little less will to do it. Like everybody now is comfortable with Zoom. And I think for the better, because the processes we put in place because we had to because of COVID are going to carry forward. Even on our client service pieces of it, we've developed virtual classrooms for our clients, which allows them to take the information in smaller chunks over a larger period of time so they can digest it better. It wasn't a total write-off with the pandemic this past year, but it certainly made in-person stuff very, very difficult.
Right, and everyone's just doing the best they can, but it's nice to be able to learn something from COVID that's helping people and being able to adapt into your curriculum for them. So that's awesome. It's a nice
started recording
takeaway.
Our sessions so that we can put them out in the cloud so clients can go back and re-watch their training sessions.
That's great.
Right? So there's a resource there for them in real time always. So
nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that wraps up the questions. Is there anything else that you kind of want to touch on?
No, only to thank the community for their continued support. It was pretty scary this time last year is actually when we were discussing what was going on, and it'll be a year Monday that we closed down the training center last year. And thinking back to how I felt on March 4th last year, and the uncertainty, the loss of the revenues from our two major signature events, the Easter egg hunt and the motorcycle ride, it was a very stressful time. And we put out a call to action to our supporters in April and May of last year, and they came through for us so huge. And we're still open and doing good work and getting our dogs out the door. And we wouldn't have been able to do that without the community standing by us, both continuing to engage with us on the volunteer side, but in a different way than they were used to, and financially.
Yeah, that's so amazing. It is such a great community that we have here. So, well, Danny, I just want to thank you. This has been amazing talking to you. I love talking all things dogs, and it has been fascinating to learn actually the process behind training these dogs and the impact they have on children with autism and people suffering with PTSD. So you guys are incredible. I love what you're doing. And we will be sure to continue to support you and make sure everyone knows about the wonderful work you guys are doing.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to and thank the community of Galt for their support and Cambridge overall. And maybe we'll see you out at the training center for an interview, an in-person interview
I hope
in the future.
I am dying to meet those dogs.
If you time it right, you might get to meet some puppies in the summertime.
63 days. I've got it on my calendar.
There you go. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Have a great day.
Right. Bye now.